Hello, everyone. Again, I greet you with the words of the Lord Jesus. Shalom Aleichem. Peace be with you. After many days of wrestling with the topic, I finally feel compelled to address this in a little bit more detailed manner on this evening, and that is the whole business of the protests and the unrest and rioting that has taken place in the aftermath of the death of George Floyd in police custody up in Minneapolis a number of days back. Now, I know that a number of my colleagues have probably spent some time addressing that in the pulpit, and that being rather quickly after all the events unfolded. I've never felt comfortable with that, mainly because I always like to have as much background information as I can on something before I'm going to go out and talk about it extensively. I always figure it's best to be in command of as many facts as possible, and that way you avoid the embarrassment of having to walk things back when you find out some of your assumptions may not have been valid ones. The whole thing anguishes me and distresses me a little bit for a number of reasons. One, like a number of you, I've seen the footage of the arrest and the subsequent death of George Floyd in police custody, and I don't know of anybody that I know of that thinks that was a good thing, or that what happened under police custody in that situation was wise or just or within the protocols of typical police action. I think most of us think that that was a terrible thing to have had happen. And I can't think of anybody who thinks that, people dying in police custody is a good thing. Most of the people I know don't hold those racial motivations for wanting to see people die. So I think that distresses a good number of us when we see that. However, the reactions that have come in the time afterward are also distressing. I think there is a big difference between legitimate protests, and we're certainly given the right to address, assemble, and make those things known in a peaceable way. But the violence and the destruction that's happened in the aftermath certainly I don't think has any place in advancing the cause that underlied the whole thing. And I think we lose sight of the fact that it's not just one group of people that's out there. I think there are the persons who are protesting, and for the most part, most of them are nonviolent. And then you have a second element, which sort of preys on that, persons who are agitators, many of them not from the Minneapolis area or from the areas involved, persons who come in from the outside, and sometimes they're on both ends of the political spectrum. But you've got people that agitate and stir things up, and then you've got the opportunists, the looters and the thieves that come in afterwards and try to take advantage of that to their own aims. And unfortunately, when the last two groups operate in full bore, the cause of the first group tends to get overlooked. I don't think that what groups 2 and 3 are doing are helping or advancing the cause that group 1 wants to advocate. And so I think we come to that realization that these protests are not all of one mind and all of one group. I would hope that reasonable persons would be able to listen to other reasonable persons. I hope and pray that order can be restored, because disorder, chaos, serves nobody, and it certainly doesn't serve persons who are in a position of economic disadvantage. I remember seeing some footage of an older African-American woman who was lamenting what had happened in her neighborhood, and she said that the persons that were destroying and looting destroyed all the places where she shopped, and she didn't have any other place to go. That certainly didn't advance the cause of that older woman or the other residents of the neighborhood or the persons who had stores in that area. That becomes a terrible economic toll to the area and to the people that live there. I don't think that advances the cause of justice and freedom either. Again, I hope that we'll be able to revert to something which is more reasonable, more measured, in these days ahead. I certainly hope that order and civility returns to the equation. We'll keep that in our thoughts and prayers in the days ahead. Until we have a chance to meet again, Shalom Aleichem, peace be with you.